every single reference to the 16 cases is the sheriff's office either interviewing or gathering statements from Sandra or Larry. Every single source is the same. Sandra told the officers. Sandra said there were 16. It goes right back to the Barbara Cain statement the court has ruled inadmissible. Boswell Memorial Hospital is not responsible for the acts of Dr. Cassis. It is not vicariously liable for any negligence on his part. This claim is based upon an attempt to prove that Dr. Cassis lacked the requisite skill to perform the surgery he was credentialed to perform, and that Boswell either knew that or should have known that based upon information available to it, and that it either should have denied privileges to Dr. Cassis in the first place or taken them away before August of 2000. Well, you're going to hear about the autopsy performed by Dr. Buchholz. You're going to hear about the family meeting with Dr. Buchholz. You're going to hear about multiple family meetings with the healthcare providers involved in this case, specifically Dr. Ron and Dr. Cassis. There was also an investigation by the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. I believe you'll hear Ms. testify that she called the Sheriff's Department and made a homicide complaint. And it was investigated, and she got the report. The whole family got the report. I submit that the evidence will show, however, that the family got a lot of information. They didn't find out what occurred in peer review because they couldn't. But they did find out what happened to Beverly. They found out in great detail. There are 4 adult children, Sandra and Dan, represented by the red hairs, Gary and Larry, who are what is referred to as pro-per, which means they represent themselves. Larry, we believe, will not be participating in the trial. Gary, as you've seen, is here in the courtroom and will participate to a limited extent later on. It is the responsibility of the plaintiff, Ms. and her attorneys alone, to prove liability.
But you will notice this no man's land in between, through which he has to now tunnel. He does it by dissecting with his fingers and other instruments, and it was when he was passing an instrument through that he injured right here. Doctor,
if you were to believe Dr. Cassis's out report, he would have been very close to the end of the surgery before this tear happened. Probably around the time of the bleed, wherever you want to put that.
Buchholz, the pathologist who did the autopsy, will describe for you that he didn't make the hole in the right iliac artery, which is the, or vein, excuse me, going back up, or the left. Rather, he did it right at the bifurcation. Where it's going to be the hardest to repair and where it's underneath that tissue in that no man's land. So he's
Behind there is where he actually made the cut,
As you
where
go
the two
down,
of them meet
you'll see
up in
the
the
aneurysm
abdomen. Underneath that's where he
of
made
the
the bad
common iliac
cut.
artery.
But he said he made it tunneling. You'll see in a minute the no man's
Just behind the
land.
peritoneum. You can see the bulge there.
And the lawyer, everybody
The
knows
graft
the
has been
truth.
tunneled
I've been telling him for
to the
years,
groin.
and it's in the record.
And
There,
you
that's
see
the no man's
anastomosis
land.
with the common femoral artery.
And Dr. Zarmer accompanied the patient to the recovery room together with the operating room nurse. And they gave what is referred to as report. They let the recovery room nurse know what the patient has experienced, among other things, 5,000 cc's of blood loss. And that recovery room nurse, ladies and gentlemen, has been deposed. And if she doesn't testify, we'll read her deposition.